This is a philosophical blog. I was having a conversation on my last video refuting dispensationalism, and I was talking to a gentleman who I have dealt with in the past, and he's a pretty decent fellow, Craster One. We were going back and forth about law and grace and oral traditions such as the oral Torah versus the physical Torah and so forth, and he came up with this statement, which I'm going to read to you, which is here, and I was referring to the law like stopping at stop signs, and if you haven't seen my previous video, then watch it and you'll get the general gist. And we were talking about stuff, and he came to this point, and I'm going to read it, and I quote, "I disagree with you on the laws of our country. I think they are founded on Masonic/Luciferian/Gnostic law. Even the mallet used by the judge, the black robes, sworn oaths forbidden by Yeshua. The law of the USA offers freedom for everything, including religion and so forth." Anyway, what he is referring to is the if you've ever read Jordan Maxwell, and I would encourage you to do so, if you'd like your faith and your thought process completely twisted into a pretzel, read Jordan Maxwell and watch Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist basically steals from Jordan, pardon for the autofocus, basically steals from Jordan Maxwell's works. Jordan Maxwell is absolutely correct. He has the way language has been set up. For example, if you look in a law dictionary, under the term in the dictionary for human being, the definition of a human being is a monster. And you'll go down this hole. This is the original rabbit holes, ladies and gentlemen. What is my point here is that if you look at some of the clothing that judges wear, the black robes, even the sign of the most holy name used by the Kohen can be seen in the practices of the people who worship Saturn, the planet Saturn. And in Zeitgeist, you can go all the way back and see that there's a lot of Sumerian practices. I would encourage you to watch that as well, and I'll put the hyperlink. I'll try to grab as much as I can and throw it on here. So ultimately, and you can also see that the practice of Christianity going forward is really, if you really want to look and delve into it, is really a practice of Mithras and Horus and Isis. They have the same concept of a savior being born, dying, in some cases dying on a tree, and resurrecting in 3 days. And all three of these people, Horus, Mithras, Jesus, and a number of other ones, all had their birthdays on December 25th. So there are a lot of correlations. So what's my point? My point is this. Why am I a Jew? Why do I practice these things if I agree with all this stuff that Maxwell's correct? If you look historically far enough back, you're going to find a lot of the dirty little secrets and similarities between other religions and mainstream Judeo-Christian beliefs. Can't deny it. That's the way it is. For you to be a true intellectual and to be honest about your faith, you have to first accept absolute truth, even if that truth stares you straight in the face. I'm sure Wayman29 is going to chime in here, and he has done some great stuff, and I'm going to put his channel on here as well. I'm going to kind of parallel this with a story that happened to me as a child. I was a boy. My father knew a guy who was a jeweler. Actually, he was a watchsmith. He built watches, he fixed watches. And I watched this fellow, this gentleman, in his 70s at the time, take apart a pocket watch all the way back to the back of the case and laid all the watch parts on a cloth, and it was at one point you couldn't tell what went where for my little mind and my inexperienced knowledge of pocket watches. But he had said something to me that was very fascinating, and it kind of stuck in my head like a nugget, like a golden nugget in the back of my mind. And he said to me, look, I've taken apart this watch down to its source. What hasn't changed? I don't know. His response was, time. Time still goes on. It doesn't need the watch. And he put the watch back together. So even Jordan Maxwell would agree that there is God. There is this eternal source, whatever you want to call it, this deity, this universal, unifying being, entity, intelligence that holds us all together and holds this universe together. And the great thing is, you can, if you're a careful student of the Watchmaker, or careful student of history and religion, go back to its source, take it down to its casing, take it completely apart, and then put it back together the way it is consistent with the truth, whatever the truth is. The one unifying thing for me through general revelation, and I kind of expressed that under the fact that of refuting dispensationalism, is that there's one interesting thing that goes on that's different in the anomaly excuse me, in history, is we have polytheism through most of history. Even in the earliest times, even in the Paleolithic times, in the Bronze Age, pre-Bronze Age, we have multitude of gods. The one thing we don't have, excuse me again, is this anomaly, which is Abraham. Abraham comes out of Ur, comes out of the Sumerian society, the first successful place with writing, and he is in search of one God. And if you ask Abraham, well, at the time Abram, which means father, what does this God look like? He has no face, he has no hands, just exists. He's the universal focus. And for me, when I've, in my personal journey, taken apart this watch, which we refer to as Judeo-Christian belief, to the back of its case, that's the one singularity that I've noticed, that through general revelation, without a doctrine or a belief system, general revelation teaches me that there's one universal creator. And based on that, I can now put together my watch, my timepiece, that is consistent with that universal creator. What does that look like? Well, I've been dismantling the watch for the first 25 years of my life, and I'm in the process now, in the second 25 years of my life, reconstructing it. And that is the responsibility of each one of us. Now, there are a lot of people on this YouTube channel that stand close and hard to the doctrine, holds on to that watch. The watch is teaching us everything, but forgets that time is above the watch. And there are others, like Yeshua my Lord, Third Proverb, Prescott Johnson, myself, and a number of others, Torah Lover, 0007, and I can go on, that are taking apart the watch. So basically what I leave with you as a final thought is, the watch is not God. God is God. And we, if you truly believe in the universal creator of all things, you have the power through freedom of will to build the watch that's consistent with that creator. So that's my philosophy for today. Bye, shalom.